Welcome to the Storehouse for Caregivers. My name is Lakeisha Hines.
And I'm Willie Hines.
And we are so thankful that you are joining us today. It is June. Oh my gosh, we are midway done with 2026.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Man, we went to sleep on the 1st, and now we're here today, 1st of January.
1st of June, 1st of June, 1st of June. Oh my gosh. So we have an exciting show for you today. We're talking about the one constant.
Always is change.
Always is change.
Can never get comfortable.
Can never get comfortable. There's always going to be some level of change in our lives. And so we can either fight it or we can accept it, right? So today we'll be talking about how you can actually do that. The one constant, change. I think that it's really important that we learn how to pivot.
Yes.
And, you know, a lot of times when you think about pivot, because I used to dance, not now, many moons ago, I used to dance. I think about a pivot in dance terms. But today we're talking about the type of pivot that means to completely change the way in which we do something.
Yeah, and I'm going to just take it one step further and make it real to myself. We all had these New Year's resolutions, and most of the time it's in regards to health and fitness. Mm-hmm. Some of us are still going. Most of us are not. So we may have to pivot and what that looks like.
Yes.
To ensure that we get back on that train or that trail of ensuring that our fitness is number one. So we may have to completely change the way we looked at it or thought it would be in efforts to work on our weight loss or health goals.
All right. Do you need to pivot today in terms of your health goals? That's the question.
Yes.
All right. So, of course, you know, I love my acronyms. And so we have one for pivot as well. And that acronym is positivity, identify, view, own, and team. So just independent of these words doesn't mean a whole lot. And so we'll break each one of these down for you so that you understand what this pivot acronym really, really means. So we want to pivot into positivity. Why is that important to pivot into positivity?
Man, you have to have your mind in the best place to make changes. If we don't, we're going to be resistant to those changes, as Lakeisha spoke about earlier, and it's going to be difficult to pivot at that point. So we want to have a heart posture of positivity and not necessarily loss or waste of time. We've tried things and tried to do things certain ways, and at times, like, you know what, that didn't work out. I need to change something up a little bit, and don't take it as a negative thing all the time, because you've done the best with the resources or the thought processes that you had at that time. But we may need to pivot, but you're gonna have to embrace positivity as we do that. If you allow negativity to stay in your heart and your mind, it's gonna be very difficult to get out of that and move forward.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's easier said than done to pivot into positivity, but I think we have to be intentional in making a mental decision to do that, right? To embrace, it is a choice every single day to embrace that positivity and leave negativity at the door. And it is easier said than done. We 1000% get that. But wherever you put your energy, that is where your energy will go. So if you feed negativity, that is what will grow. But if you feed positivity, on the contrary, that's what will grow. So we're encouraging you to choose to see the positive side of every situation, understanding that that's the more difficult thing to do, but it's the best thing to do, right?
Yeah.
We have to embrace optimism. I think you're really good at that. It seems to come natural to him. I have to work at it, but embracing optimism is just something that, like I said, I think comes very natural to you. Why do you think that is so important for us to embrace optimism?
I think it's just more so that looking at the silver lining, and the importance of that is to move forward. It happened, whatever decisions that were made, those things happened. There's nothing you can do about it. Where do we go from here, and where do we move forward? I'm not saying you're not going to have any emotions behind it, and you have to make sure you deal with those emotions and understand those emotions. But once you're able to come out of that, Let's move forward and say, you know what, there's bigger and better things to accomplish. This didn't go the way I wanted it to go. Whatever that is, let's just move forward.
Okay. And we understand in some situations, and I agree with you, by the way, we do understand in some situations that may not be an option all the time, right? But try your best to choose to not allow yourself to stay stuck there, right? This is all about pivoting, right? So do your best to try not to stay stuck in there. Allow yourself a moment. You can sit in it for a minute, but then decide that this is not how you want to live. I mean, I literally just had a conversation with Willie this week about something in our professional lives that I had to make a decision to focus on what I can control, focus on what I can change, and the rest I kind of have to release and, like you said, move forward, right? So we have a choice every single day. All right. So we want to pivot how we identify success. What do you truly value? What do you truly value? And then is your time, is what you're doing with your time actually aligned with what you really value? Because sometimes it's not, right? So if you are doing things that do not align with your value, that can totally leave you feeling dissatisfied and unfulfilled because you're doing things, again, that don't matter to you, that are not significant to you, and it can be extremely draining. So some examples of things that you might value, maybe it's financial freedom. I know that's what he values. That's really important for him. Yes. Something that I value is more time for myself. That's really important for me, especially now with how demanding life is. So more time for myself is something that I value. Maybe it's more time with your family, or maybe it's more time traveling. I don't know, whatever it is. Just keep in mind, whatever you're doing on a regular, consistent basis, do your best to try to make sure it's aligning with whatever your values are. And don't wait to meet this grand, giant goal before you celebrate. Why do you think it's so important to celebrate the small wins?
We have to, because we try to make sure that, or only celebrate when that accomplishing that big goal. What if that big goal doesn't happen in the time frame that you wanted it to happen?
Yes.
You feel like a failure at that point. Feel like you didn't do enough. But it's not necessarily that. It's just other things may have been obstacles as you went through a process or a program or whatever you're trying to accomplish. There may have been some little things thrown in your way where you had to pivot a little bit. That may take a little longer. So celebrate those small victories to ensure you stay encouraged in efforts to meet that big goal. I know, as Lakeisha stated, financial freedom. Just personally, we have a financial goal as far as savings at the end of the year, but we're not where we wanted to be because we've had some childcare.
We've had some setbacks.
But what has happened is, even though we were not saving as much as we wanted to, we are able to pay for additional childcare without the use of any credit or credit cards or anything like that. So, no, it's not where we want to be here at mid-year, but we're not incurring debt at all either because of it. So we have to look at that, again, being that optimistic about where we are and celebrating the win. Say, we didn't get what we wanted. We're not on the trajectory to get what we want to get accomplished, but we did do some things not to incur more debt.
Yeah, and I think it's important to apply what we have learned as special needs parents, as caregivers to persons with unique abilities. We have to pivot all the time because we never know every day, right? We never know health-wise what's going on, behaviorally, educationally. There's always something that we've had to adapt and adjust to. So I would say apply that to your own personal life as a caregiver, that you already have practice with pivoting, right? So you can just take those same skills and apply them to whatever it is that you may need to pivot regarding moving forward. All right, so we want to pivot your view of productivity. Oh my gosh, this one is so important, right? So being productive has been worn as a badge of honor these days, right? This is how people view how I would say relevant or significant they are based on how productive they are. But sometimes the things that we're doing are not necessary. Just because they're productive doesn't necessarily mean that they're helpful or they're the best use of your time and energy.
Yeah.
So we have to check in with ourselves. We have to assess the intentions behind the productive things that we're doing.
Yeah. Just look at working in an office, working on a computer. You're tired. you need to be productive. Your eyes are closing. You got brain fog. You're not being as productive. That may be that time where you need that nap. That may be that time. And it's really just making a decision at that point that I'm trying to be productive, but the most productive thing for me to do right now is take a step back so that way and refresh and regroup. That way when I get back on this laptop, this computer, I can be more productive. So it's just a different view of looking at the same thing.
I would like to say that our Asian brothers and sisters have it right and that they carve out time during their workday for naps.
Yeah.
Right? It is carved out in the workday because they understand like a 10-minute power nap can help you be that much more productive if you just take a moment, like you said, take a step back, rest, give your eyes a break from the computer. Sometimes you'll get up and just go outside. I've started doing that too. We both work from home. And so sometimes just getting outside and getting that sunshine, which we are so blessed to have, and it's free. So it's keeping us on track financially, right?
Yeah.
Can really help to recharge us and refocus us and ground us and help us to continue to be productive throughout the day. But at the end of the day, again, with whatever it is that you're doing that you deem to be productive, is it bringing value to your life? Is it bringing values to the areas of your life that you truly value? Or is it just to stay busy? Are we just doing busy work to earn that badge of honor? Are we trying to get some type of credit or praise or accolades externally from our peers or from even our bosses, right? Relatives at times. Exactly. Our children at times, right? But is it truly bringing value to your life? That's something that we really are asking you to take inventory about today. Because being productive at the expense of being content in your life is definitely not worth it. And I know for sure I have been there, done that.
Yeah.
We all have these busy moments, but we have to take the time to acknowledge the moment, to decide that there is no rush. We can slow things down and we can set intention behind each thing on our to-do list. Take a minute to celebrate the wins. Do that, big and small. I like that expression that is old as I don't know what now that says take time to smell the roses. I literally do that. Literally. It's an expression where it really just means take time to slow down, enjoy your life, pay attention to your surroundings and all of those things. But when I go to the grocery store, I literally, when I pass by flowers, I will stop and smell them. And so there's enough time for all the things that you need and want to do. You just have to be intentional about setting the time for them.
Yep. Yeah. So the O, owning your health and happiness. Owning it. What we feel like in pivoting again is that, especially from a health or physical health standpoint, we need an hour, 2 hours a day to ensure that we are working out or running or walking or something like that. It doesn't take that. It's really just about going outside or even in the home doing 10, 15 minutes of some type of movement if you are able to. And owning that and say, you know what? Every day I'm going to devote 15 minutes to my physical health. That in turn will help with your mental health as well. If you're able to do it consistently and make it a routine. So things like just understanding it's actually interesting. I went to the doctor the other day and he was like, man, decide what you're going to do. Decide what you're going to eat. You have resources. There's all this AI stuff, this chat GPT stuff, GPT. There's so many tools and resources to understand what you need to put in your body and how much you need to exercise and things like that. Utilize your resources to ensure that you are putting yourself in the best health, which will create some happiness for you.
Yeah, I definitely have been the one that's like, I don't have an hour, so I can't go to the gym, and I just wouldn't do anything. And I did utilize my resources, Dr. Chat GPT, and I was able to literally find something that works for me. And one of the things that I have been trying my hardest to adapt is walking for at least 10 minutes after lunch, because normally I would just either sit down after lunch or I would just jump right back into work. But I'm trying to take a few minutes and move after lunch. That helps with not only digestion, but it also helps with you not feeling sluggish after you eat, and then, not being as productive, which we talked about before. And literally just giving myself grace, understanding that this season that we're in, like, I don't have an hour at 6 o'clock in the morning as I used to go to the gym. I just don't have that right now. So, that will change. But as of right now, it's not what I have. So I've had to pivot. So I want to share this quote by Gretchen Rubin from the Happiness Project. And it says, happy people generally are more forgiving, helpful, and charitable, have better self-control, and are more tolerant of frustration than unhappy people, while unhappy people are more often withdrawn, defensive, antagonistic, and self-absorbed. Ooh.
Yeah.
And then Oscar Wilde added on, one is not always happy when one is good, but one is always good when one is happy. Oh, my God. I mean, just sit with that for a minute, right?
That's tough.
It is. It is. But it's so important that we focus our attention on finding that happiness, whatever that looks like for you. We're not here to define that for you. But one thing we can say, and we learned this years ago, is that happiness is not based on happenings. It's not based on circumstances or situations, because guess what? In this special needs world, there's always going to be something to be, quote unquote, unhappy about, or something to be frustrated about or mad about and even sad about, right? But at the end of the day, we get to choose how we're going to respond, how we'll react, and how much we allow that to impact our day, our week, our month, our year, however you want to look at that. So let your happiness be non-negotiable, not an afterthought, but that is actually intentional. And cut yourself some loving slack. How about that?
Give yourself some grace.
Give yourself some grace.
Give yourself the grace and the loving slack that you get at everybody else.
The way you give to your children.
The way to give your peers. The way you give to others in the special needs community.
Mm-hmm. And
that same slack, give yourself that.
Exactly. And pivot the way you love your body and your mind. I love what you said about, the doctor said, research, use your resources to figure out what works best for your body. And we had to figure that out ourselves too. Like, what works best for his body doesn't necessarily work best for my body. So I had to do the same thing, figure out what works well for me. But the one thing that we are asking you to do today is to pivot into saying goodbye to the should, would, and could BS and just own all that you are.
Yep.
We can't live in regret. We can only change today. Really, that's it. Because yesterday's gone, tomorrow's not here yet. So the only thing we can really influence and affect today is today.
It's today.
Yes. So we need to pivot who we allow on our team and how we view and receive support. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Mm-hmm. Do you find that the people you're surrounding yourself with, do they have a tendency to pour into you, or do they have a tendency to pull out?
Because they're doing one or the other.
They are doing one or the other.
And
they
you
are.
have to make a decision. Or help yourself, or try to understand which one that they are.
Yes. Are they pouring in or are they draining your energy, right? Are they uplifting you, encouraging you, or making you sad and depressed and angry? Like, which one is it? So if you have people in your circle or on your team, in your bubble that are draining your energy, we may have to make some adjustments with those folks. Not that we don't love them, not that we won't continue to have a relationship and support them and be there for them and all of those things, but we may have to limit some of our interactions, right? To make sure that, again, they're not draining all of your energy. And so with support, we talk about this all the time. I mean, literally, we are support for caregivers. So we talk about embracing support, and also, we give support as well. And so sometimes it's hard for us to accept support. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's hard to ask for help, but sometimes you need that. And there's nothing wrong with you asking for support, or if someone offers, accepting that. Because the way I look at it is like this. If, let's say this is my neighbor, and let's say God placed it on their heart or in their mind to do something nice for me, and then I say, no, thank you. Now, I feel like I'm blocking whatever blessing God has for them because I didn't accept or receive whatever it is that God placed on their heart to do for me. And likewise, if God asked me to do something for someone else and I don't do it, then not only do I miss my blessing for being obedient, for being disobedient, but that person who I was supposed to give that support for, they miss out as well. Now, that doesn't say he can't use somebody else, and he will. He's all powerful and he can do all things. But we do need to make sure that, again, we are receiving as well as giving support as we are led and guided and directed.
One thing you can see is don't fall into that vortex of feeling like you have to do it all. Mm-hmm. That's definitely an area of opportunity for me. Again, we're support for caregivers. We give support, and it is tough for us to accept a lot of support, and we're getting better at that as well. So we're preaching to you all and preaching to ourselves at the same time. But that circle, that bubble that you create for yourself, when you have those people or persons or groups in place, utilize them. They're there for your well-being. Once you've identified that special group, they're there to assist and take the load off a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember, again, whomever's in that bubble, you want to make sure that, again, they are like at least 80% positive, right? We could deal with 20% negativity if we have to, but whomever's in that bubble, they impact your motivation. They impact your well-being and contribute to your general happiness. Think about it. Have you ever gotten on the phone with someone, they called you, and they are just having the worst day, most horrible day, and they sit on the phone and complain the entire conversation? How do you feel when you end that call? I know for me, I feel drained, and then I'm an empath, so then I feel sad. Like, it completely shifts and changes my mood. And so at times that's okay. We're all in that space where we're not necessarily in the best mood all the time. But if this person is always this way every single time you talk to them, then again, there may need to be some adjustments that need to be made. And so we want to also invite you to create opportunities for community growth and for connection. And part of this is about connection. Yes. Because everybody is not able to make it to support group, and we understand that. So we wanted to bring support group in a different form, right? To your laptops, to your cell phones. Yeah. Yes, we wanted to be able to bring it to you in that way, and we truly hope that you're being blessed by watching these shows. Because that it truly is our heart to yours, and wanted to make sure that you don't feel isolated and disconnected, and that, again, this is an opportunity for you to join a community. So. With that being said.
Find opportunities to pivot.
Find opportunities to pivot.
Well, let me not say find opportunities to pivot. There will be opportunities to pivot. Take advantage of it.
Will you embrace the
it?
pivot?
Yes.
That's the question.
Yeah, will you embrace the pivot?
Will you embrace the pivot? We're inviting you to embrace the pivot for sure. So as always, please stay connected with us. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube. We have Twitter. We're on Instagram. And, of course, we have our website. And you can definitely reach out to us there. There's a contact form. If you need resources, you can actually go to our contact page and you can schedule a spotted call. So we make sure we don't play phone tag with you. But we're here to provide resources and support. And we'd love to see you at support group, either in person or virtually. Those dates are on the website as well. So thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next time.